I wanted to talk to you about Justice Paul Stevens.
John Paul Stevens.
Yes, John Paul Stevens. The quote I want to read you. Until today, it has been understood that legislatures may regulate the civilian use and misuse of firearms so long as they do not interfere with the preservation of a well-regulated militia. The court's announcement of a new constitutional right to own and use firearms for private purposes upsets that settled understanding. This understanding that he is talking about, how do citizens move forward in terms of getting a better understanding of this decision and what they, in terms of their own individual rights, can be?
Well, I mean, in most parts of the country, nothing changes. Regulations are in place, and it's legal to own firearms elsewhere. What makes D.C. law so unusual is it's illegal to own firearms here. It's illegal to own a handgun. It's legal most places. So
it's an exception.
Yeah, this is the exception. Chicago's another exception. So in most parts of the country, in fact, 35 states have concealed carry laws, which allow people with proper licensing to carry outside their home, carry guns outside their home. So outside of the D.C., it's a pretty standard practice, and it's not going to change their life very much.
A Harris poll done in May of 2008, attitudes on gun control. I think they're putting this up. While 49% favored stricter, what are we looking at here? Here we go. Individual right to bear arms, 41% believe that that is the case. A state's right to form a militia, 17% believe that was the case. Both, 29% believe that was the case. So there's a strong sense among Americans that the Second Amendment allows this. And
right.
It's your point.
It is.
It's
in fact,
correction.
that's sort of a response to Justice Stevens's point. It may be true that the federal courts of appeals have taken the view in the past that Justice Stevens identifies, but the American people have long believed in an individual right to keep and bear arms, and the Supreme Court is finally catching up with them.
Okay, having said that, explain to me, 49% favor stricter gun control and 54% favoring stricter handgun control.
Well, I mean, first of all, it's a 2000 poll, and
2008.
2008 poll.
This
well,
is May of 2008.
I mean, you know, really, the way this has to be evaluated is regulation by regulation, and you can't. It isn't just in general have stricter or looser. It's, well, what can we do? I mean, and that's what the court's going to do from now. That's what courts are going to do from now on. They're going to take a look at a particular regulation. They're going to say, does this regulation really genuinely address a problem, a serious problem? Does it promise to be effective in doing so, or is it really placing an undue burden on the right of gun owners to own their guns for their own personal protection? And so there's nothing wrong with seeking gun safety laws if that turns out to be reasonable.
In some ways, these numbers kind of reflect the decision. We want the control, but we don't want the outright ban either.
Well, I mean,
the Second Amendment allows it, and then there's
right.
a
I mean, Justice Scalia's decision, as you earlier pointed out, says here's all the list of things that are okay, and those things are going to be upheld. I mean, I was predicting that long before Heller was decided, that even if Heller came out in favor of an individual right, most gun laws in this country, except those that are being enforced capriciously, and some are enforced capriciously, where only the rich and powerful get to have a gun. Most gun laws in this country are going to withstand scrutiny because the people have believed in the right to keep and bear arms and have therefore not really regulated in an unreasonable manner up till now.
Thank you so much for joining us today and explaining for lay people a very complicated subject.